What the fuck?
Hello and welcome to Tastes Like Tea, a podcast about me. My name is Theo. Don't call me Ted. The last two episodes have been, I still don't really know what to call them, drive-alongs or whatever, where I only spoke about one film. That was mostly because I was not motivated enough to sit here for 90 minutes and talk about 4+ films. And now it's over 90 degrees and I'm sitting in a car with my windows down because gas is too expensive to idle and do nothing. So, I decided today I at least want to do another what I watched. I had a hell of a week last week watching films, and there's definitely a lot of stuff to talk about. We don't hate. But I would love for sound to be fucking mutable. Why haven't the Harkonnens released their fucking cone of silence yet? That's really all I want. Like, I think 90% of my anxiety would be gone if I was able to just activate a cone of silence whenever I wanted. It would make work much more tolerable. It'll make basically any human interaction that I don't want to interact with much more tolerable, because I could just not interact with them. And there's still a billion trucks driving by. I don't even know how good this sounds, but considering I drive in my other one, it's probably fine, right? I hear probably worse than you do. It's annoyingly fucking sunny, though. I kind of hate sunny days. There's literally like no place to find shade that I can put my car without getting in trouble. At least I'm assuming. I don't think I could park in that cul-de-sac without getting in trouble. So we're just going to have to listen to this garbage. The beautiful sounds of New Jersey. Diesel dump trucks going uphill. Douchebags and lifted trucks with their broken exhausts. You gotta love it. I'm just looking at things now. I don't even. I'm silently like waiting for it to be a little bit less annoying, but that's impossible. Either I put the windows up and run the car with the AC on, or I sit with all the windows down with the sun just on me, and the highway blaring. It's not even a highway. Not a real highway, anyway. Anything but ted@gmail.com if you want to reach out. I don't know exactly why, but you can, and I don't mind the idea of it. I wish I had more time. Jesus Christ, shut the fuck up, dude. It's a bird like 5 feet away from me. I never considered how many different sounds a bird can make. This is all one bird. Oh, nope, that's still one bird. Alright. Yeah, I never really knew that birds can have like a bunch of different calls. I thought every different bird had a different call. But I guess not. Jesus Christ. Yeah, anything but ted@gmail.com. You can tell me to stop listening to birds. You can tell me to go on stimulants because I told my doctor no on that. But who knows? Maybe I need it. Whatever. We're doing a what I watched today. A loud one apparently, where everything in nature and beyond is attacking me verbally. Jesus Christ, I don't know, man. I'm trying to. I'm gonna talk about the Terminator. All right, but first let me count how many fucking movies I've watched last week. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19. Above average, absolutely. And the first thing I watched, so like this is gonna kind of be like how I started my week off, is I watched the Terminator for the first time. I've never seen the Terminator, and after watching Lady Terminator, I was almost convinced maybe I just won't ever watch the Terminator. Maybe I don't need the Terminator in my life. But then I was at the library, and they had a copy of the Terminator on DVD, so I picked it up. And I almost didn't watch it. I almost returned it without watching it just because I couldn't find a good time to get a double feature in with it. And I really wanted to get a double feature in. Luckily, I was able to fit it in the middle, or at the beginning of the week. And it was good. It was a great experience. The Terminator... I mean, what is there to actually say about the Terminator? I have some complaints, I guess. But maybe I should also mention that this was a double feature with... I was going to hold it off and maybe like lead up like, oh my god, he watched Terminator and Terminator 2 for the first time. No, I watched Terminator for the first time. And then just in case it didn't live up to the expectations that I was led to believe that it would fulfill, I watched Lady Terminator right after that as like a double feature. And that was kind of my plan anyway, because I watched Lady Terminator first before I ever watched the Terminator. And I loved it. And I was just like, the other day I think I said out loud, like, I'm just not convinced that I will like the regular Terminator as much as I do Lady Terminator. And I feel like that's a really shitty thing to say because, one, I haven't seen it at the time. I'm just making assumptions. And two, it just doesn't make sense. Like, I've heard people say, like, I like Lady Terminator just as much as the original Terminator. But those people, I think, also have a lot more nostalgia for the original Terminator. I, however, am almost 30 years old, and I have not seen it until last Monday. But yeah, like, what is Terminator? I'm not going to say that because that's such a dumb fucking question. I will say, though, this film starts off relentlessly. I think, I actually said it in my review, I think all movies should start as quickly and efficiently as Terminator does. Because it wastes, like, zero time. There's not a moment wasted in the first act. It gives you like a 2-minute like text crawl explaining that robots took over the planet and that humanity is on the verge of extinction and that the only way to beat the robots is to go back in time. That's basically all it says. And while it's doing that, it has like little footage of like tanks running over skulls and just kind of giving you a glimpse of the future that the two main characters are coming back from. And then that's it. And then Terminator does the thing where he's naked and kneeled down, like that famous scene that I mostly actually know from How I Met Your Mother, because Barney makes it like a life mission to sleep with a girl only by doing like movie references or something like that, or specifically Terminator references. And one of them was him literally doing like the naked thing and standing up and going, "Come with me if you want to bang," and that's comedy. that's funny shit right there. God. It's been a weird couple of weeks. I've been like getting better mentally, and it's weird. It's weird and a little frustrating just how much of a change has been made just from a little bit of therapy and a little bit of medication. Don't know why I'm talking about it, but it's a thing, right? It's kind of a part of why I decided to do this podcast, because prior to feeling like this, I was like, I can't just do a podcast alone. I don't know what I would do. I'm going to sound uneducated. I'm not going to be able to bounce off of anybody, and it's just going to be me alone doing like whatever I planned on doing. Because the most recent podcast idea we had between like me and a couple friends was mostly a book podcast. It was going to be basically all media, like comic books and movies and stuff as well, but like that's why I started keeping a notebook of all the fiction I read, because I initially planned on having a podcast, and the notes I took were kind of like my conversation pieces, but it never happened. But I continued doing it, and then I started listening to a podcast that involved one host, and I'm like, shit, you can do it. And then he also ended up not being a person who edited much of his podcast either. So I got the whole thing of like, hey, I can just do raw audio, like just like I did my YouTube channel. Just record what's there, don't edit it, and put it up. Because that's kind of, I want to say it's my lazy route, but I think it's more or less my most efficient route. Because if I were to edit everything, I probably wouldn't do it. Simply because I wouldn't have the time to do it. Why am I talking about any of this? Terminator, right? See, this is what happens when loud noises are around. All I do is like reset and look up and forget what I'm talking about. And it's actually really fucking annoying. I'm a little frustrated right now just thinking about it. I might move my car to that spot that I'm pretty sure I'm not allowed to park my car in, but it's quieter in the shade and away from these fucking trucks. Kind of. Yeah, time and stuff, whatever. I don't know. So Terminator, it really just, it starts off so fast. Like Arnold is naked, kneeled down less than 5 minutes into the film. I extended it to 5 minutes because I really don't know. I'm just, rough estimates. But the film started really, really, really fast. He stands up, he's naked, and I didn't think they had the balls to do it. I didn't think they could do it, but they did it. What is James Cameron that did this film? I did not expect James Cameron to have the balls to show dong in a movie. When I think of like big names like that, like James Cameron and Spielberg and stuff like that, like I think guys who figured out how to make things while also following the rules. And I don't associate showing male genitalia with following the rules. I don't know, it's just a weird thing, because it's such a specific, minute detail that actually depending on the version you watched, you probably wouldn't have even noticed it. But like I saw someone say that their VHS copy is so grainy that they didn't realize that you could see his penis, but then you saw it in HD and it's just flopping about. It's literally like out there. It's not just like a little bit. It's out there. And you get a good couple of seconds of it, and I was like, no way they did that. But they did. And I even had to Google it. I was like, is that Arnold's penis? I think that's actually the exact sentence I Googled, and Google was like, yeah, Terminator shows us Arnold's penis. It's a thing. I think I also did that for In the Cut. I went, is that Mark Ruffalo's penis? And it went, yes. No, actually, for In the Cut, I just Googled, is that a real penis? Because prior to that, before 100% seeing Mark Ruffalo's dick, you absolutely see a prosthetic dick that I wasn't sure was real, but it was. The only reason I'm assuming it's not real is because if that was actual penetration, then it would not have come out. We're not talking about In the Cut, though. We're talking about Terminator. And I'm spending way more time talking about the opening than the opening spends time talking about the opening. But that's it. Like the Terminator shows up. It's Arnold. He's naked. He walks up to some punk dudes and says, "Give me your clothes." And they don't, so he rips their heart out. And then he's on the move. He's looking for a woman called Sarah Connor. And there are a couple things to note about. I actually pointed this out recently when at D&D the other day. We were watching Predator 2. And I was talking about how, like, movies that predict the future before world tragedies happen. World tragedies, national tragedies. I'm kind of only going to be speaking about national tragedies in America. But, like Terminator takes place in 2027. That's the future timeline, right? So they're coming back from 2027 to what is that, like 85, something like that, 82, 80 maybe, I don't know, sometime in the 80s. And that is predicted from before 9/11 happened. And I think when it comes to this big of a time jump, it's actually way less significant. When I was talking about Predator 2 the other night, it was kind of like within a couple years. You know, like 5 years before and 5 years after 9/11. There's really like the build up and the release of the kind of shit that people reacted to. Terminator. What am I talking about? Shit. Oh well. So the Terminator is looking for Sarah Connor. There's also some other dude. I think his name was like Reese or something like that. I was thoroughly unenthusiastic about his existence in the film. Like, obviously you need someone to be hunting down the Terminator, or else the Terminator just wins and the movie doesn't happen. But he was just kind of like a guy that, like, he traveled back in time. Oh, okay, right. So these movies are predicting the future, but they aren't taking into account possible tragedy. So they're assuming that their world state exists, and what if that world state existed 40 years in the future? So when Arnold, the robot monster hunter person, comes into the past, he's like, how do I find Sarah Connor? And he doesn't like do a thinking thing. He just kind of goes and does it. But he's like, I will find a phone book, because phone books have people's addresses in them. And there's a lot of things wrong with that from a 2026 perspective. Mostly the fact that we don't have that kind of information in phone books anymore, I don't think. If they do, I am very disenfranchised, and I definitely haven't seen a phone book like that in a long time. In fact, I'm pretty sure the only time I've ever seen phone books is business phone books. Like, was that the Yellow Pages? Or is Yellow Pages the regular one? Right, because there's white and then there's Yellow Pages. Well, white is for people and yellow is for business, or vice versa. I don't know. But this robot from 40 years in the future that was probably created that same year is aware of the function of a phone book. And the same goes for the guy, right? I mean, that's a little less far-fetched, but same thing goes for the guy. He opens up. What am I doing? I'm trying my best here. I think this might actually just be an episode specifically about this double feature I was thinking about doing, just Terminator / Lady Terminator, but I don't know. We'll see. I'll probably stick to that, and maybe I'll record just a second. I have 3 double features I did this week, and I kind of don't want to not do all 3, but I also don't want to skip over some. So I think that might have to be the way I do it, is just record 2 or 3 separate double feature episodes. So how about that? You get to experience a new format without me even knowing I was going to do it. Or I didn't, and this is a lie. Jeez, I never sweat through my clothes. That goes to show how fucking hot it is, and just sitting in a car in black seats with jeans on and a leather seat. Yeah. It's cool, I guess. I don't know. Huh. Wow, I am really out of it today, huh? I'm really fucking distracted, too. I'm really annoyed, and I'm trying not to say the hate word because I don't want to hate. I listened to an episode of mine earlier today, the Contact episode. I'm good at podcasting. I don't give a fuck what you think. I make a good podcast because I was listening, I was chuckling, you know. Contact is also an amazing film, but Christ. Where's that train of thought going? I don't know. I haven't seen it. Terminator, he exists. He's really self-aware of things that happened in the past, even though it doesn't make much sense that they are. Okay, so as I said earlier, I watched Lady Terminator after Terminator, right? And the big thing about Lady Terminator is that it's basically just a ripoff of Terminator. Surprise, surprise by the name. But being a ripoff, it obviously condenses, cuts, and changes things. And I think it's for the better. And this is why I really need to have both up in the air at the same time, because it's kind of a lot of comparisons, because the things I liked about Lady Terminator and the lack of their existence in the original Terminator are exactly why I don't like it as much. And most of that comes down to Sarah Connor. I don't know if she ever gets cool, like ever, but I did not really like her that much in this first entry. She, she's a 1980s woman in a movie. Like, she's ditzy, she's blonde, she's easily tricked, but she's also, hot or whatever. I want to say she has, skills, but I can't remember what the fuck her job was, because it was kind of irrelevant. Was she a reporter or something? I can't even remember, because I didn't like her that much. I didn't care. So, Sarah Connor exists, and that's who's being hunted down. That's why the film happens, is because she's apparently the reason the terrorism can be stopped or whatever. So, Terminator and Reese guy are hunting down Sarah Connor, and because Sarah Connor is a fairly common name, I shouldn't say common name, but it's a fairly simple name, there are multiple people in the in the phone book under the same name. So Arnold takes the sheet and starts going down the list. The first two are duds. They're not the right woman, but he kills them anyway. And there's some violence in between. It's good violence. It's a lot of off-screen violence, but it's shot in a way that's like, ooh, kind of stuff. So it's cool. It's cool to see him bust down doors and go like, hey, you're not the right woman. Blah, blah. So they're looking for Sarah Connor. And they both find her at like the exact same time, both the human guy and the Terminator. And it's pretty interesting because it's a lot of like she's oblivious to the thing that's hunting her, and she's accusing the guy who's trying to save her as being the guy that's hunting her because she doesn't understand what's going on. But eventually she does, and she joins up with the Reese guy, and here's like the specific parts that I don't like about the original Terminator. It's this exact part between Sarah Connor meeting this Reese guy and Sarah Connor acting upon her plan at the end. Like basically leading up to the final act. Everything in between is just kind of slow and uninteresting to me. Because like the hunt for Sarah Connor was awesome. It's just scene after scene of like, is this her? Nope. Boom, dead. Is this her? Nope. Boom, dead. Someone stops him in the street to like, hey, you look kind of cool, or why are you wearing sunglasses at night? Boom, dead. Like, it's a lot of violence really quickly. And then they find the right Sarah Connor, and Exposition City happens. The floodgates are open, and Reese is like, yeah, let me tell you the lore of a universe you're trying to stop. Let me give you, specific company names and model numbers and specific alloy choices to like simulate skin. And like he's just going into all this detail that I do not give a fuck about. And maybe this is a 2026 problem. Maybe it's that I'm watching a film that I'm deeply aware of the concept of Terminator, and this is the first entry in the first of the franchise. So like, to an extent, it probably needs to explain itself. But I think that all of that information that Reese gives her is pointless. It's literally just scene after scene of her going, so wait, you're telling me that, and he'd be like, yeah, well, actually, the corporation and the government, and like, give me more flashbacks or flash forwards to the future, where you see like the dichotomy of what's going on. Like, maybe you could have had more. I don't know. There's a lot of ways you could open the film back up more if you just didn't have Sarah Connor in it. Because not only is she just there to receive exposition for the viewer, she's also the love interest because she's a woman. So they have to shoehorn in a sex scene. And that was just annoying. Because I don't think I find that relationship genuine whatsoever. It was... I don't know, man. 80s movies requiring... Almost all action movies requiring sex is just dumb as fuck. But for those exact reasons of... We need to put a woman in this movie. We need her to act like a woman. We need her to be dumb like a woman. And we need her to have sex like a woman. And those are all boxes that needed to be ticked. And those are all the boxes that ruin the Terminator. And I'm saying ruin as like an exaggeration. I still think it's an amazing film. Like, it was such a great time. But considering what I like about Lady Terminator and what I was hoping to see more of in the original Terminator, a love story was not part of it. Ditzy women were not part of it. so that, I guess that brings me to Lady Terminator then, right? Because I mean, that's the one. Not the one. I've been saying the one. That's one of the things, right? It's like, it's a ripoff of Terminator, so it's doing almost all the Terminator things. But, and this is a big but, because this is exactly what makes me like Terminator less than Lady Terminator. The Terminator is the woman. That's kind of it. And all of the Sarah Connor relationship and lore dump and stuff is replaced with a mythological story about the Queen of the South Sea in Indonesia. That's so much cooler. I don't give a fuck about the corporation, Skynet, and like the model numbers and like, oh, this is a T300, T1000 or whatever, and they use carbon alloy skin that simulates real human flesh, and that's how he gets by looking like a human, is because he looks like a human. It's like, yeah, no fucking shit, dude. No one cares. His face comes off and there's a robot under it anyway. Just destroy the fucking face, dude. Stop shooting him in the chest where he can just cover it up. So yeah, all that's condensed down into the Terminator. So Lady Terminator is actually a completely different story. It's the same movie, but it's a completely different story. A woman, I think her name is like Tanya or something like that, is an anthropologist, and she's like, oh, I gotta go check out the history of this Queen of the South Sea. Like, I'm super interested in her from an anthropological standpoint. So she goes diving and gets possessed by the Lady of the South Sea, the Queen of the South Sea. And she becomes a sex-fueled, blood-hungry murder machine. As the tagline for the film goes, first she mates, then she terminates. That tagline alone is better than anything Sarah Connor has done in that first movie. And I will complain about Sarah Connor endlessly until I see a film where she's redeemed as a cool, competent woman. Because didn't, like, a kid or something save her at the end of the first one, too? Like, she almost did it, but then, like, someone intervened anyway. Look at that. It's... God fucking damn it. I don't dislike the summer, but I dislike summer days. I am a long pants wearer. I am a shirt wearer. I enjoy my sweaters. And I can't do any of that from the, the gazing beam of the sun raining down on me. So, yeah, Lady Terminator is... So, I mean, it opens with, like, a sex scene of, like basically giving you a backstory of... A really badly told backstory, I'll admit, but still a backstory nonetheless. Of, how the South... Like, how the Queen of the South Sea works. And I don't fully get it, but I think it has something to do with, like... she's insatiable. Right, she has an insatiable lust for sex, and she won't be satisfied until someone can satisfy her, and I guess she, like, rapes men to death until she finds someone that satisfies her. I think that's kind of what happens, but this guy fucking pulls out her vagina eel and stabs her with it, and the Queen of the South Sea... I'm turning the car on. I don't care. I'll be right back. Alright, the car is on, and that's cool. So, what the fuck was I talking about? Lady Terminator, she gets possessed by the Queen of the South Sea, naturally. She went to go look for the Queen of the South Sea to, like, study her or whatever, and ended up getting possessed by her and her evil, vagina eel monster thing. Um, there's also like a whole rape scene that happens that I heard she didn't even know she was being filmed for. She thought it was a completely different scene, and then they like digitally added a eel raping her, which is interesting to think about. But the chaoticness of adding a weird mythological sex craved sea queen into the Terminator forces the rest of the Terminator movie to be kind of condensed down into just the key action scenes. And then any plot that develops outside of that is almost directly just furthering the Queen of the South Sea thing. Geez, I am so lost. I don't know how this is going to come out. I don't remember what I've said so far. All I know is I got 30 minutes in and decided it's time to talk about Lady Terminator next. Because I clearly can't talk about the original Terminator without comparing the two. There is no love... Well, I guess there's like the loosest love plot in Lady Terminator. But all the sex that happens in the film is the Lady Terminator herself. It's not some other character that exists. Because what she does, is she'll walk up to some dudes that are pissing. They just love pissing. Dudes love pissing. Laughing about it. Having a good old time. There's these guys pissing. And then she comes up. He's like, hey, let's fuck. And then, right. And she doesn't just fuck them because they're like unsatisfied. Like the South Queen isn't just unsatisfied. She also has like a blender vagina that like shreds penises. So she's like fucking these dudes, and then just like blood starts spurting out from their crotches, and it's hilarious. But that's where all the sex stuff comes in. The Terminator herself, the sex scenes are also violence. And they also further the plot because the violence and the sex thing is all part of the South Queen and the Terminator, and it all is just a lot, I guess, messier when I talk about it like this, but I think it's a lot tighter. It's also like 15 minutes shorter than the first Terminator, so it also has the advantage of not needing to fill out nearly as much time. Yeah, so she like fucks some dudes, rips their dicks off, takes their clothes, and then starts hunting down the girl for some necklace. Oh, there's a girl, by the way, is a Sarah Connor equivalent, but she's just a conduit for carrying this necklace that is the thing that the South Queen Queen of the South Sea wants. Yeah, man, I mean, that's kind of it. The fact that I'm doing this in only 8 minutes of just that. So, no, that's kind of it, right? I mean, Sarah Connor's not in it. Her sex scenes are condensed down into the Terminator kills. So there's more violence and more kills and less slow-moving sex scenes and character development. There's no need to haphazardly throw out useless information about evil entities that are hunting you down from the future. Because there's none of that. There is a dude that is like a professional Queen of the South Sea studier man, and he kind of gives her the rundown, and you get a little bit of lore from him, but it's mostly just this woman hunting this girl down relentlessly, and it's relentless, man. Like where Terminator the original Terminator has like a lot of gun violence and a lot of like brutalities. Like, it's no wonder that Terminator was put into Mortal Kombat, because he's just doing Mortal Kombat things. The same thing with the Predator. Like, now that I'm seeing these movies, I'm understanding why they're in Mortal Kombat, other than them just being iconic movie characters. Because I always stood by that Freddy is the best Mortal Kombat DLC character from a movie. But maybe lore-wise, it's probably the Predator. Although I think I don't like the Predator's moveset. It's MKX. I don't really like MKX in general. I got a fucking Milky Way for my partner, and guess what? It's 90 fucking degrees. So it's on the verge of melting. Yeah, I say this a lot. I am definitely a winter person. I would much rather it be cold and I just have to wear a lot of layers than it be hot and being forced to just deal with it, because you can only remove so many things, right? You can add as much as you want, within reason, but you can't remove anything once you get down to like, your bare clothes if you're outside, or, your skin. Can't get rid of that. Although I hear when you lose your skin, it gets cold, so that might be pretty cool. You're not holding in all your body heat, so it's just kind of like dissipating. I wonder what that feels like. So, where does Terminator and Lady Terminator actually become the same movie? Well, it's within the violence, which I've been kind of talking about, how it's a relentless hunt. Because there's no goody two-shoes guy running around going, oh, we gotta save you, and fuck you, and I gotta father your child so that you can save the universe. Wait, that was another bad subplot of Terminator that I guess kind of works, but to have reproduction in time travel is always really messy, because that means that if Sarah Connor's son wants to exist to stop the robots, then the robots always have to rise up, because if the robots don't rise up, then Reese would never go back in time to impregnate John Connor's mom. Yeah, it's kind of a broken system when you get there, but yeah, with Lady Terminator, you don't need to worry about that, because there is no time travel. It's just a really patient goddess that lives in the ocean that raped a woman and now is evil deading her around with a fucking machine gun and a leather jacket and really nice hair. But so the scenes are... it's not as one-to-one as I thought it would be. Because like I said, I've heard people speak about this film before, and it's been kind of relayed to me that Lady Terminator is almost a one-to-one recreation of Terminator. And it's not. It has like a handful of the action scenes. All the action scenes are almost shot for shot the same. Way more violent in Lady Terminator, I'll be honest, and that's another reason I like it more. But it's also just like, if I didn't just watch Terminator right before, I probably wouldn't have been able to pick out nearly as many details as I did, because it's just the basic setup, like similar events that are shot exactly the same. So there's like the police station where, the Terminator shows up to the police station and shoots up the police station. And that's a really notable scene, because that's something I actually kind of know about this film. The woman who plays Lady Terminator, you'll notice she kicks in like every door ever. Every door she sees, she just fucking kicks it. And she was like getting good at it. She was kicking in doors really easily. And this is a story from like on set. That she and they actually have the shot in the film, which is even crazier. But there's a glass door during that police station shoot up scene that she kicks and it shatters. And I learned that was not supposed to be a door she kicked. And that glass was not made to be shattered. That was a real glass door that she kicked in, and actually like fucked her leg up really bad. She got like major stitches and was out of acting for a while. It's just crazy to think that they kept that shot in the movie. I mean, it's a good shot, I'll be honest, but it does cut out really quickly, which makes me assume that it was a shot that was cut short. What else is there with Lady Terminator? I really don't think there's that much. I mean, that's just it. Is there's less of it, and I like it more because of that. Like that's really what it comes down to. Is Terminator was amazing, but it needed to be 10-15 minutes shorter, and it didn't need to focus on so many minute details about a corporation that doesn't even exist yet. It'd be different if Skynet was like floating around in its early stages or something, but it doesn't seem like that's true. You're talking about Skynet like it's a common like name, but it's not going to be invented until robots are invented or something. I'm not sure. And obviously a lot of this I'm not sure stuff is kind of a sign that, I'll probably watch it again. I probably need to watch it again. But as of right now, I think the ripoff is better. And it's probably an unconventional thing to hear, but it's not an unconventional thing for me to say. Because I am a weirdo. I think Scary Movie 3 is good. I think superhero movie is good. I don't know, date movies better than most rom-coms. I recently confirmed that I don't like Christian Bale except for his role in The Bride. Yeah, that's kind of it. Considering it's only been 46 minutes, I think I'm going to slip one more film in. And then I'll probably save the other 2 double features for another episode, or 2 episodes if I'm lucky. It depends on how much I have to say about both of them, but I feel like I have quite a bit to say. Going in the order that I watched them in last week, I watched The Terminator, I watched Lady Terminator, and then I watched Dressed to Kill from 1980. And this is a film that exists, that my knowledge of its existence is very particular, and it's probably not how most people are aware of this film. Dressed to Kill is directed by Brian De Palma, that famous dude. He made Scarface and Carrie and a bunch of shit. Phantom of the Paradise, a lot of famous movies. People love them. What was that other one that? And the reason I'm talking about him like this is because I am actually, and Mission Impossible, I am very middle of the road with Brian De Palma. I think Scarface is awesome, but I think the video game is better because Scarface shouldn't have died. He should have rebuilt his empire. I think that Carrie, although made well and probably a really close adaptation for the most part. I know a lot was dropped to enhance other parts, but I know it's considered a really good adaptation, and I found it lackluster. And that could be just because I waited so long to watch it, but I'm 0 for 3 on Brian De Palma. Mission Impossible was a totally mid movie, like I said. And now Dressed to Kill I didn't like it that much either. It's kind of like a transphobic 80s version of Psycho, which is really weird because Psycho is kind of generally considered I don't want to say a pro-trans film, but it definitely isn't transphobic. But Dressed to Kill, how do I start this off? Let me start off with the reason I watched it, right? because that's actually my favorite part of why I watched. Like, my favorite part about Dress to Kill is the reason I watched it. I might have spoken about it in the past, but there's this porno called Night Dreams from 1981. The director went under a pseudonym, but it's generally agreed upon, and I'm pretty sure it's just confirmed. I just never decided to Google it. That the director of the 3 Night Dreams films is also the same director as the Dr. Caligari adaptation from 1989. And all of those films are artistically immaculate. They are the peak of set design and like ambiguous, like, I don't know, it's dreamlike sets that are just out of this world. So Night Dreams exists because no. Night Dreams uses it. Night Dreams got its sets, plural, I think, from the promotional poster set designs for Tobe Hooper's The Funhouse and Brian De Palma's Dress to Kill. You can check the dates on all these, and it all lines up. It's Dress to Kill and The Funhouse were 1980, and Night Dreams is 81. I'm confirming the Funhouse thing because it might actually also be 81. Yeah, but probably earlier, 81. But if you watch Night Dreams and look at the posters of Jesus Christ. If you look at the posters of Dress to Kill and Funhouse, you see the sets of Night Dreams. Like, those are actual props and bits of, like... And it's weird to say because, like, the poster for Dress to Kill looks more like a drawing. But it's... I mean, that's the same for... God, In the Cut. Shut the fuck up. The Funhouse is probably the easiest one to know. But yeah, so that's why I watched it, is because the set that was used to make Night Dreams is the set that was used to promote Dress to Kill. Because of that, I went in blind. I go into most movies blind. If I've never heard of them or never seen them before, I generally don't know anything about them, and I just kind of start watching them. I think it's pretty cool. So, what is it about? Not Night Dreams. Dress to Kill is about a serial killer trans woman. Yeah, that's kind of it. But the thing is, that's not the good part of the film. So, like I mentioned, it's Psycho, right? Apparently, Brian De Palma has made a couple of films that kind of build off of Psycho, or maybe just Alfred Hitchcock in general. But he does have 2 other erotic thrillers that look like they're probably just Psycho ripoffs too. But yeah, so there's a killer going around dressed as a woman. Except earlier in the film, you kind of already confirm, or maybe I'm just a modern viewer that understands how, like, things work a little bit more, because maybe that wasn't supposed to be like a big reveal. But yeah, there's this killer woman running around, and boom, it's a man. And the reason that he kills women dressed as a woman is because when he sees women that are sexually attractive, his dick makes him angry because he doesn't like to have a dick, and he kills women because that's what trans people do, according to this film. Is when straight men are reminded that their penis isn't what they want, they get frustrated and angry and hurt people. And that's kind of what the film is saying. I know it's trying, I shouldn't say it's trying its best, but it is trying to not being offensive. It's 1980. They're still using the word transsexual or transvestite or something like that. I think it's transsexual. And it's just really heavy-handed with it. Like, it cuts to like a Jerry Springer type show playing where there's a trans woman on there going like, "No, I'm a straight man, but I am also a straight woman." And it's just a lot of ignorance and a lot of gawking at something that is probably still gawked at today, but shouldn't be, and is way more openly understood. But so, like I said, it's like Psycho, and a big thing I like about Psycho is that it's 2 movies in one. You get 2 climaxes that kind of resolve together. And that's what this film does. So it starts you off with what's her name? She's really cool. Angie Dickinson. Angie Dickinson is a woman. I mean, that's the actress's name. The character's name is Kate Miller. But Angie Dickinson, the mom of Arnie from... No, we'll get there. Her character is the mother of the actor who plays Arnie. Jesus Christ, no, I'm wording it wrong, too. Again. So I'll just get to it later on. Angie Dickinson is a middle-aged woman married with unresolved sexual tension. She wants to feel loved and she wants to fuck, but her husband is disconnected and unsatisfactory. So she goes out at night and... no, she doesn't go out at night. She goes to like a museum and gets seduced by this dude in a really creepy way. Like, it's very, like, well, if he doesn't want it, I'm not going to do anything about it. And then he starts doing something, and I was like, well, then I'm going to do something about it. And it's just a really weird situation. I didn't find it to be offensive or anything. It was actually probably the best shot sequence in the film, but it was really, overly extended. Like, it went on for too long, and, if it's supposed to just be a metaphor for power shifting, then I really hate it, honestly. So I hope that's not true. But she gets just seduced by this dude, she fucks him, and she goes, "Oh my gosh, I'm a married woman. I have to go home and pretend that I didn't get fucked by this man." So she writes the guy a fucking note saying, like, "I had a fun time," because I guess one night stands in the 80s required that the woman leave a note with like a smiley face or something. It's not like she left her phone number or anything. She literally said, "Maybe we'll meet again." Like, it didn't say anything except basically it was like a thank you note for having sex with her. Really weird. I don't know what the mentality was for that. But while she's writing her little note, she notices in the drawer that the guy she just fucked has a piece of paper saying that he has a venereal disease. I've never had a venereal disease, so I don't know if that's what the papers look like. But I feel like it wouldn't say venereal disease. It would just be like, "Hey, AIDS, big AIDS warden over here." Not make you dig for what venereal disease you have. So the woman leaves after banging the dude. She's like, "Holy shit, I probably have gonorrhea or something." And then she's killed by a man dressed up as a woman in an elevator. And it's pretty gruesome. It's a really fucked up scene, and it's really cool. And then a fucking a prostitute woman shows up, who's the main character, Nancy Allen, and she witnesses the murder, but then picks up the murder weapon and is immediately accused of being the murderer. So now the film is not about a sexually unpleased woman looking for, like, men to go prowl up towards. It's now a whodunit about a trans woman, an unstable trans woman who was denied their sex change in, like, a pseudo Silence of the Lambs type thing, where it's like, oh, well, if I can't be a woman, then I'm just going to start killing women. Because that makes sense. And obviously that's what frustrated men are going to do when they can't become a woman. It's a lot of stereotypes, it's a lot of generalizations, and it's a lot of me just going like, what? Are you serious? And that's really where the film loses me, is once that woman dies, once Angie Dickinson is dead, and the film becomes about who the hell killed her, it becomes so not good. Like, I don't know how to even express how unfun and, like, unenjoyable this film became after that. It was just like, it's trying its best to hide the fact that like, you know who the killer is before meeting the killer. Like every whodunit, they introduce the killer under a guise of being a nice person. It's usually the first person you see in the movies too. That's generally how whodunit works. At least from, like, a select few that I can think of, like Opera. What's that one I was just thinking of? What am I talking about? I don't remember. Slashers? I really don't remember what I was just talking about. But Angie Dickinson is dead, and the movie gets boring from there because it just turns into a transphobic story about a white woman trying to be like, but there's another woman there, I swear, and everyone going, that's not a woman. There's no woman there, you dumb woman. Like, it's so just circles. It's just circles and circles of the same bullshit, and then the only black characters are rapist gang members, which I personally didn't pick up on, but after reading a few reviews, I'm like, holy shit, that is true. I noticed it when it was happening. I'm like, of course the black guys are going to rape her. But I didn't notice that they were the only black guys in the fucking movie, and they were degenerate rapists. Like, and then to show, like, that scene about of the trans woman on Jerry Springer going like, yeah, I'm actually a straight man, but I'm sexually frustrated and I hurt people when I don't get what I want. Like, it is too much ignorance for a modern viewer. It's really just not enjoyable, and I really wanted this to be a film about Angie Dickinson becoming, like, sex crazed adulterer that kills men. You know, I thought she was gonna be like, holy shit, I have AIDS, and then she's like, well, it doesn't matter then, I'm just gonna start killing dudes and having sex. Like, and I thought that's what the movie Dressed to Kill meant. No, Dressed to Kill is a man dresses up as a woman and then kills people. Like, it's... Sometimes my head builds a way cooler movie, and sometimes the movie is miles worse than what happens in my head. It's just really a shame, because, like I was trying to say earlier, Arnie from Christine is in this. He plays the son of Angie Dickinson. And he ends up being one of the main characters, which is really cool. I like that he kind of gets involved. I like how inventive he is with his home tech that he uses for espionage. He, like, bugs the police station for a little bit, and it's really cool, like, what he does. Damn it. One thing I think is super notable, the first scene of this film is Angie Dickinson showering, watching her neglectful husband not pay attention to her. And it has these really intense zoom-in shots of Angie Dickinson's body. Except, it's not Angie Dickinson's body, it's another woman. A woman named Victoria Lynn Johnson. Who You might be wondering, who is this Victoria Lynn Johnson woman? She sounds like she's willing to get naked on camera and show Bush getting dribbled down on with shower water and whatever. Who could this woman be? Well, according to her Letterboxd page, Victoria Lynn Johnson is a model and actress, best known as Angie Dickinson's nude body double in Dressed to Kill. So there you have it. Imagine that being your legacy. Of like, yeah, you ever see Dressed to Kill? And like, yeah, I love that movie, that erotic thriller. You were in there? It's like, yeah, you saw my vagina. And like, who were you? It was like, oh, I'm a different woman there. You just got to see my vagina. Just very, very specific. I wonder what else she did, because it says model and dancer or whatever, but that doesn't mean anything. I am technically a model, as of, last week at some point. I have a talent page. Therefore, I am an actor / model, even if I've never done anything. This is such a weird episode. I feel like I want to keep going. I don't know why I threw Dressed to Kill in there. I could have just stuck with the thing. I don't know. Weird episode. Weird day. You can tell I'm trying to decide. Do I talk about the next movie or do I say my email? You know what? Let's make it easy, right? Let's call it there. All right. I feel like I didn't do anything useful with Lady Terminator. It doesn't matter though. It's one day a week where I fuck things up like this. Anythingbutted@gmail.com if you want to reach out and tell me how bad I am at this. Christ. Anythingbutted@gmail.com if you want to reach out. Questions, comments, concerns. I just got an independent DVD from some guy in Canada that I'm really excited to watch, and I also got a link to watch an independent film, feature length. I think it's like 100 minutes, as like a pre-release review sample or whatever, which I'm really excited about. I'm actually planning on talking about them eventually, just because they're so, like, even if I don't love or hate them, or, whatever it is that the films are, I feel like because they're so new and underexperienced, that maybe it's just a good thing for me to talk about. The guy that reached out about the feature-length film, or I reached out to him and said, like, hey, can I watch this and I'll give you a review? He does encourage podcasts, so, maybe I'll send him this and the written review. We'll see. Hopefully I'll watch that this week, though, because I just don't want to feel the pressures of, like, shit, I have to watch that movie. I don't think I'm allowed to share it. I was going to ask him if I'm allowed to share it with other people, but the fact that he's having a theater premiere tells me that he does not want to share it. Even the link he sent me is password protected, so anythingbutted@gmail.com. I won't be able to send you that link, but I can link you to the Internet Archive page that lets you download Hawk Jones, because you should totally watch that. Oh shit, what a horrible episode. I'm glad you sat through it, I guess. I might sit through it myself, so I'm right there with you, maybe. So
that's it. I mean, you've been listening to Taste Like Tea, a podcast about me. I am T and T's me. Goodbye.